Almost normal.
Almost.
This whole thing feels like.
Yes.
We take the word fake out of everything now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a fake season. Now
did.
we got a real season. Hi, everybody. It's the obligatory PSU pregame show. Believe it or not, we're back for another season.
How many is this?
This is number 6, technically,
Nonsense.
actually.
Goodness gracious.
Wow.
And we are here in a special spot to start off this season. We're at Medler Field at Lebrano Park on the Penn State campus, right across from Beaver Stadium. And this is the home of Penn State baseball and the State College Spikes, starting their first season this past year in the MLB Draft League. We're glad to have you with us. We're going to talk Penn State, Wisconsin, Nittany Lions offseason. Grab your pencil and your paper. It's the obligatory PSU pregame show.
Yeah, a lot
Cheers.
of banter.
Cheers.
A lot of banter there. Chris.
Johnny, did you roll on that whole thing so I can use it on social? And we're back here on the obligatory PSU pregame show. And as I said, we are coming to you today from Medlar Field at Lebrano Park, home of the State College Spikes. We got this gorgeous view of Mount Nittany in the background. It's a nice way to celebrate getting back to relative normalcy. And it's a pleasure to be here doing it with you guys. I'm your fake host, Chris Buchanani. Just want to thank all our affiliates, new and old, and our audience for letting us keep doing this nonsense. And it wouldn't be the same if I didn't do it with my crew of cohorts. Starting with you, Penn State defensive tackle, former NFLer Brandon Noble.
It's good to be here. It's exciting. It's
good to have you here.
I'm excited for a football season, a real football season. Yep.
And beloved campus icon, Mike the Mailman.
I love working with you guys. It's a lot of fun. It's a great experience. Great experience. I've learned so much.
Lies.
I'm serious.
All three of those statements were lies.
I've learned a lot from you guys, haven't I?
And last but not least, here to talk about this, I think, relatively positive offseason after a terrible fake season, former OnwardState.com managing editor Kevin Horn.
Yeah. Get ready to get going, ready to get to Madison.
So last time we saw y'all, we weren't even sure if we were going to shoot another show because it was up in the air whether or not there was going to be a bowl game. Spoiler alert, there was not.
There was no bowl game.
That's right.
No bowl game.
Things were relatively bleak. We finished up the year 4-5. But guys, I think, to be fair, since that time, Penn State has had just about as good of an offseason rolling into this 2021 year as you could hope.
Yeah, big recruiting class, some good coaching changes. I guess the most surprising, obviously, was the departure of Kirk Soraka, offensive coordinator. But seems like an upgrade from this point in time.
How do you feel about that? The quick trigger after 1 year, you make the change.
Look, I mean, none of us claim to be program insiders or anything, but from what the rumors you're hearing, the rumors you're hearing is that it was sort of a dysfunctional relationship in the end there, and maybe that's a product of clashing personalities, a product of Franklin taking COVID precautions seriously, and so them not having real practices like they're used to in the past, and being able to integrate the Kirk Soraka offense, but. That was certainly shocking news when it happened. Usually you get a little bit of a longer leash than that. But given what we know now and sort of what we heard about how, you saw the offense last year, right? So when you have the opportunity to get Mike Yursich.
And your guy.
Yeah.
That was his guy.
You do it. You
Yeah.
do it.
And I think it's tough with a quick trigger like that, for Soraka. He didn't get a fair shake, and I don't think getting fired was indicative of his ability to coach football, right? Like you saw what he did at Minnesota. Good football coach. I was really excited when he came on board here. But at the end of the day, like he didn't fit what James wanted.
Yeah.
And that was very, very obvious. And James knew what he wanted. And then this offseason, what he wanted became available. And he did what he needed to do to get it. I don't like that Soraka got fired right away just because I've been in that profession and that sucks. But from a program perspective, I think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, no one knows better than you. It's not fair.
Yeah, no, right? Football's not fair. Not even close.
And that's like a quick fix. I get this guy that has a proven record of being a big offensive throw, pass, run, you name it, that guy is good. So
And do it the way that James wants him to. I mean, that's
James
the
wants
big part.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, you got to have the horses ultimately.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, you do, you're
absolutely.
right.
we may not. But
Well, speaking of which, I think another interesting part of the offseason has been the way James Franklin used the transfer portal. This has become a big part of roster building in college football. And Kev, I mean, I think there was addition by addition and subtraction via the transfer portal this year.
yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, you have the DN from Temple, I think, is the most prominent.
Arnold Ebiketie,
Yeah,
defensive end.
I didn't want to offend him by mispronouncing his name.
Right,
but
sure.
Expecting big things there. Yeah, I mean, there's free agency now, right? So you can leave without penalty at any time. So you got to dip your toes in that, whether you like it or not, at all times. And Penn State had some scholarships to give, some moves to make, and they made them.
Part of the reason they had scholarships to give, Mike the Mailman, is that I think, again, we're not program insiders, but I truly believe James was not totally comfortable with the team he had in his locker room last year.
I agree.
And I think there were probably some tough conversations had over the course of this offseason. And some of the players you saw choose to move on and pursue opportunities elsewhere. Not all, but some.
Yep.
I don't think the staff was heartbroken to see him go.
And I know Brandon, you're not really a big fan of this because,
Well,
I mean,
I am and I'm not. I mean, I do think that it was a great way to jettison some folks that you're not happy with in the program. But on the other side of it, I do think it creates some. I mean, the portal's great from a program perspective that you can definitely kind of escort people out that you don't want in, and also you can fill holes like Kevin was saying that are necessary. And I think defensive tackle, defensive end. There's some spots that I think we solidified, hopefully in the portal. But at the end of the day, like there were a majority of the kids that go into the portal don't find a home, right? So I do think that there are some kind of issues there that maybe the kids have been sold a bill of goods, or maybe the process needs to be changed a little bit to make sure that they're being taken care of from an opportunity to continue to play football.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, I mean, all that's well and good. The player development this offseason is still yet to be seen, and more important than any coaching change, more important than any portal. I mean, I think it's well documented that Coach Franklin took COVID more seriously than almost any coach in the country, to the point where players were wearing masks on the field. You couldn't have team meetings in certain rooms. The whole team couldn't be together at any point in time. And that's sort of, there's still precautions, but that's sort of done, right? And so now you actually have a James Franklin offseason, a fall camp that's normal. And, that was not a 4-5 team on the field last year on paper. Right. And so hopefully, if you want to use that as an excuse, it wasn't a normal year last year. Now the excuses are over. They have to excuse some development from some of those younger 4 and 5 stars that we've gotten to come to Happy Valley. And that'll be the more key than anything this offseason.
And that, to me, is the best news. The fact that we have had a relatively normal winter, spring, and summer workouts. College teams don't roll out of bed ready to win.
No, you're dealing with kids.
And you look at last year, the fact that we had to break in 4 new coaches, and they had to get to know their players and try and install their scheme and teach via Zoom.
Yep.
I think it was evident on the field. And so even though last year was bad, there's plenty of reason, I think, to feel good. So as we go to break here, just give me thumbs up, thumbs down. You feeling positive or negative coming into 2021 season? Mike the Mailman?
Absolutely.
Okay, got that out of the way. Horn, what do you got?
Neutral. I mean, I'm more positive than last year. It was 4 and 5, but
I'll take it.
I'm not jumping for joy.
I'm positive. I feel good about it.
I'm feeling positive, too. And you know what? You're going to be feeling positive after our next segment. We're going to have our very own Mike the Mailman and his very special trip to talk to the Penn State football team at Football Media Day. So stick with us here on the Obligatory PSU pregame show.
Cheers.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're here with us. We're coming to you from Medlar Field at Librano Park, home of the State College Spikes. And Mike the Mailman, we've been talking about a return to normalcy, and you got to take back up what has kind of become something of an obligatory pregame show tradition when last year you didn't get to do it, and this year you got to go back to Beaver Stadium and talk to the Penn State players at Penn State Football Media Day.
Media Day was great. Producer Johnny Baker and I went up there. We had a good time. It's fun to talk to the players because they're real people too, you know, and they're
Yes, they are, Mike.
Yeah, and
Yes, they are.
like people forget about that.
I
But-
said that about you.
Yeah. But
Maybe not
Really?
me. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I
Maybe
asked,
not me.
Yeah, I asked them some good questions.
Some hard questions. The
Yeah.
tough ones.
Yeah,
What kind of cookies?
yeah. Well, that was one of the best question I thought. The answer we got was in 2 days. This is 2 days before the Olympics
Okay.
was over. I said, if you had a chance to be in competition in the Olympics, what would you want to do? Well, Sean Clifford said, I'd like to be a swimmer. I said, why is that? He said, well, because those people swim faster than I run. I said, okay, that's good.
Fair.
One offensive lineman said, I want to be a boxer. I said, why is that? He said, I like to hit people. I mean, these are answers that these
That's a good question.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that far off from what most of our Penn State beat reporters actually ask at those press conferences. but
well, as I was waiting to ask questions, I walked by a couple of the questions. Like, it's so boring. These kids, they don't want to answer these football questions.
No.
I obviously always ask who's the best dancer on the team, and I'll tell you, 98% always focus in on one guy.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
And it's
see.
usually a D lineman.
It is. You're gonna see soon enough. Soon enough.
And who's the best video game player? Things like, and then come back to cookies. I asked these two. I forget who it was. Two guys were saying. One guy said, "I really like sugar cookies," and then the guy said, "Oh, no one likes sugar cookies. Everyone likes chocolate chip cookies." It was really, they were bantering one another, which is fun. I mean, the guys were having fun. And I
And
was
to
having
your
fun.
point,
Yeah.
they just get asked the same bland,
over.
monotonous
Oh, yeah.
questions. And you can see it on their faces. They like just being asked a human question instead.
Yeah.
And who's going to turn down Mike the mailman?
No one.
right?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
A nice crazy old man in their life.
That's right.
Everybody needs that.
And the most interesting answer I got was, "What's your favorite restaurant in town?" And one guy said, "Well, I'll tell you in a couple of weeks." So obviously the money part got entered into that. So I said, "Okay, good."
And here it is. Check it out.
Hi everybody, Mike the Mailman here for the 2021 Media Day at Penn State University. Right here at beautiful Beaver Stadium. We're going to interview some Penn State football players to get a little bit of insight, some unique insight. These are tough questions, man.
I think we're all up for it here.
I have a lot of tough questions.
We may have an answer. I guess it's still about on the team. I got to go with Fred Hanser. Dancers? Fred Hanser.
Fred Hansen by far.
Dancers? Have you seen his moves?
Fred Hansen.
Have you seen his moves?
I'm gonna say Fred Hansen.
I haven't seen too many dances for real. I know Fred Hansen.
Definitely not myself. You don't even have to say that. I probably have to give it to my roommate Fred Hansard. He's a great dancer. He loves dancing. I mean, he's tried to teach me how to. You know, you either got it or you don't.
I can tell you someone who can't dance. I can tell you John Sullivan cannot dance. Cannot dance. I gotta go with Fred. Fred Hansard. Fred Hansard. Who you
That's what I said.
We have a TV show. Free is on our show.
Okay.
There's a DVD of 1997 basketball. How much of it is meant? You gotta wear this
I appreciate it.
You guys are limited to what you have. You guys do like cookies, right?
Yeah, I love cookies.
So, what's your favorite cookie?
I'm gonna say sugar. I'm not a big chocolate chip guy.
Come on, man.
Nah, I know everybody likes chocolate chip. I'm a big
I'm
sugar
a
cookie
double
guy.
chocolate chip guy. Yeah.
Favorite cookie?
These are tough questions.
Probably just like a good old chocolate chip cookie, like nice warm chocolate chip cookie. You just can't go wrong with the chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip.
Classic chocolate chip with a good glass of Coke.
Has anyone ever baked cookies for you?
My mom when she comes up.
You don't tell the coach about that, right? No.
Don't tell her. No.
We'll scratch this part.
Yeah, scratch that part.
Does your mom ever
No, my mom doesn't say. I gotta make my own cookies nowadays. If I want a cookie, I gotta make my own cookies.
Everyone uses texts and send a lot of cards, tell you miss her. She'll love you forever. I mean, she's gonna love you forever anyway. But what do you enjoy most on TikTok?
Devin Food. I don't got eyes.
I'm not a big TikTok guy. I'm sorry about that.
I'm not on TikTok a lot, but I used to be really close with Will Levis, and he makes some funny TikToks.
My teammate, Dre Lambert. Keandre Lambert. Yeah.
TikTok, I'm gonna say myself. No, I just like the content I make. The content. I feel like it brings joy to everybody's day.
Probably the last question is, what do you think?
Jahan. I gotta give one spot to Jahan.
Me and him play the game a lot. All we do is win. We win. Don't lose. But me and him versus anybody on the team.
Parker, Brisker, Malik. We got a lot of game on the team. Not gonna lie.
When it comes to Madden, me.
If we're playing Madden, probably me.
You don't want to see me in Madden.
Light work.
You ain't like that.
Light work.
No.
Jahan definitely.
I got very little luck when it comes to going against Jahan in games, so I'm gonna have to give it to Jahan.
Don't ever let Jahan Dotson tell you that he's good at video games. Get that one on camera.
Appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
So stay tuned and we'll be right with you.
I'm sure I'm
Anthony would be at the podium and then Mike, you would.
Welcome back to the obligatory PSU pregame show at Medlar Field from Librano Park at the Penn State campus. Beautiful view of Mount Nittany in the background.
Gorgeous.
We're getting ready for the Penn State season and Nittany Lions opener against Wisconsin. So Fred Hansard was the guy. And, you know, look, that is somebody who I would surely love to see finally step up and live up to his recruiting pedigree this year. We're going to need a lot of help on that defensive line.
Especially
this year,
that spot, right? Inside, the D tackles, that dude's got to show up.
Yeah. So another big story, one of many in the offseason for college football this year, is that now players, for the first time, student athletes are able to monetize their name, image, and likeness rights. And we've seen Sean Clifford dip into the NIL realm. We've seen a few of the other players start to get involved. Not like at Miami.
Well,
that's for sure. We ain't got $1 million quarterback yet, Mike the Mailman. But this is a big change for college football, guys.
Yeah, it's complicated. It's impossible to describe in a TV segment. You can go to our podcast for the full analysis. But in theory, it's a great thing, right? Sean Clifford is basically sponsored by every restaurant in town at this point, which is cool, right? He gets a little extra cash to use your name, brand, image, likeness. He's done some autograph signings. About a dozen of the players have done some autograph signings. That was probably happening anyway behind the scenes, but now it can be out in the open at least. And it's kind of cool that Sean Clifford gets to go to the field for burgers and pay, and he doesn't have to pay to feed his linemen. Like, that's an overall good thing. Yeah. Penn State this year, though, it's a weird, because we don't have that many stars, national stars, right? I mean, Clifford and Dotson, I suppose, but beyond that, no one nationally, unless they're really following the program, can really name anyone.
Not at the beginning of the year, anyway.
Not at the beginning of the year. We'll see how the year goes. But, where it becomes a problem is you're seeing some of these schools that are just sort of writing blank checks. Rich dudes that are bored are just writing blank checks at the whole roster, which is good for the roster, not necessarily good for equity in college football, right? So if you're a long snapper, you're not going to get a scholarship, and you can go to Brigham Young and get your full scholarship paid for as a walk-on by some random businessman who doesn't actually want your brand equity. He just wants to be rich and pay for you and have a suite at the game. You're going to go there instead of another school, and really, you shouldn't be picking schools based on where you're going to make the most money. You should be picking schools based on what's a good fit for you academically and athletically and coaching staff-wise. And this adds another element that kind of makes me a little uneasy, given that there's no rules whatsoever. Because the NCAA just kind of conceded. They're like, well, we're just impotent now. We'll just let anyone do whatever they want, which is obviously not a good thing. There's got to be some medium between like suspending players for like having a booster buy them a bagel for breakfast and like what we have now, which is rich dudes that own gyms in Miami just writing blank checks for everyone and really throwing off the competitive balance that I think we all want in the sport.
And you can't fault the players for taking the money.
No, not at all.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. Yeah, absolutely. With that.
It's a weird spot. I mean, it is. And look, one thing I think there's this, when guys are on scholarship, they get a cost of living check. Right?
At least here they do, for sure.
I mean, look, they do. My son plays at Temple, and they do at Temple too, right? So again, I don't know what it is, but they're not. The idea of the broke college football player, right, not eating at night, is nonsense, Right now, I 100% I am on board with them having the opportunity to make more money. I agree with that completely. But I do think, like you said, Kevin, like the fact that it went from like, getting in trouble for a bagel to the Wild Wild West, and guys getting cars and $1 million contracts. Like there's got to be a middle ground there somewhere. And they're going to figure it out, and it's just going to be painful while they do.
And there's no rules about recruiting either. So
Right.
you have 5-star recruits that are getting free cars and becoming millionaires.
And skipping high school now.
Right. So ultimately, in theory, a good thing. In practice, I don't know. We'll see. Probably will ruin the sport, but hey, we're here for it.
All right. That's exactly right.
Whatever. We're here in Under Mountain Indy. It's all good.
Life is good.
And for me, my biggest concern, even though, again, I'm in favor of it, generally speaking, I do think it maybe puts Penn State at something of a disadvantage because of just where we are market-wise and who we are culturally as a program. Yeah. It's a heck of a lot easier to pay the Miami Hurricanes players $6,000 a pop than it is here for a variety of reasons. But anyway, we're going to get into something more fun on the other side of the break. We'll be back.
Theoretically more fun.
Won't be long now, chill in the air. Gotta feel like it's fall now. Lights on, crowd back, boys about to ball out, all out. Hit them on a cross route, and we score a touchdown. Leave you disappointed, cause they missed the kick, and you didn't hit the point spread. Bad beat. But this is why we
And
do
we're
this
back
every Saturday.
here on the obligatory PSU pregame show. We are at Medlar Field at Lebrano Park, home of the State College Spikes and Penn State baseball.
Yeah.
And guys, this is normally the segment in the show for the rest of the season where we're going to go and take a site visit to one of the many fine local businesses on the Central Pennsylvania Tasting Trail. And so we thought we'd get that segment kicked off by bringing in Celesta Powell, who is the managing director of the Tasting Trail. Thanks for joining us, Celesta.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Queen of alcohol in Center County, if you will.
I would prefer that title for the future.
So I was going to say that was not one of the title choices
wasn't
that
an
she
option.
gave. Yeah, that was not an option
You know
that
what?
she gave you in between here.
I'll fix it in post. I'll put that under your name when it comes
like
up on the
that
screen.
one.
So the Tasting Trail, if I may sum it up for our audience, is basically kind of an alliance. That's what we're thinking about here in Big Ten country these days, alliances
Alliance is good.
of all the craft breweries, distilleries, wineries, and cideries in the county. And there's a lot of them. They're cool. They're all distinct. We're looking forward to bringing people their stories and showing off their product. And you've got this cool Tasting Trail Passport program, Celesta. So tell us a little bit about this.
So our passport's been around for about 7 years, and what it allows you to do, it costs $35, and you get a whole year. We did extend it with when the world ended. We gave people 2.
Fair.
I thought that worked out.
Fair. Right.
Pace them.
Yeah.
You get to go to, what you have to do is you go to all 13 locations, and you get a stamp, and usually you get a free drink of some sort. Sometimes they give a little gift, little wine glasses, extra fun stuff, sunglasses. And then once you're finished, you turn it in and we return it for a sweatshirt. So I always like it because it's a really great way to see Center County. And you get to see so many different places in different locations than in this little blurb of State College.
Sure.
And you get to meet a lot of creative people, and every environment is really different, and all of them are pretty unique. So it's good, and you get an opportunity to drink alcohol. So
And that's a win.
that's the
That's
killer
a win
part
right
of it.
there. And a sweatshirt if you do it enough.
And a sweatshirt.
And some of us did it all in one day, resulting in them getting kicked out of Happy Valley Brewing when you were probably managing it.
Probably.
But I'm going to do it again, I think, because I was much smaller when my sweatshirt no longer fits.
We have new sweatshirts
And they're new, so I think I may do it again.
with Axeman and 814 cider.
Oh, so I'm a fraud then. There's 2 more.
Yeah.
So new design, you're
New
gonna
color.
get new logos on the back, and maybe upsize, just one size,
Sure.
right?
And there's been a bunch of new ones recently. So you have to be established for a year, right, to be on the trail?
Yeah, so it's really easy. I mean, you have to be in business a year. You have to have somewhere that people can come and drink. You have to be producing in Center County. And then the hardest part is you have to attend a meeting with all of us together once a month. So
I
we
bet
can,
that's fun.
It's like cat herding
I bet that's fun.
extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And that's really to plan events, do some different things, and kind of we make sure that mutually our group is benefiting those small businesses that are producing in Center County. So it works out really well.
Awesome.
We did this summer, we did a expo. So we had a beverage expo down in Bellefonte, which is a really nice place. Talleyrand Park is pretty cool. And then in October, we're going to make history for the first time ever that you will be able to purchase and consume alcohol at Grange Park. So we are going to do an Oktoberfest.
I like it.
So we're excited for October 16th.
And that's the Penn State bye week. So if you're local, very easy. If you want to take a trip to Happy Valley and avoid the game day traffic, also super easy. Central Pennsylvania Tasting Trails. Check them out at centralpatastingtrail.com. We'll be right back.
Television, now we taking a shot up in the tailgate lot with a stadium view. And college what a great spot. Damn it, I've been waiting all week. Counting down the days till I'm back in my
Welcome
seat.
back.
I'm back in my
It
seat.
is that time of the
Shout out
show.
to
It's the
Joe
first show of the
Moorhead,
season.
Pac-12
Penn State hasn't played any football yet. So we have got to give our season record predictions. And guys, we are going to clear the total nonsense off the deck right out of the gate. Mike the Mailman, what do you got? You Penn State Nittany Lions in 2021? Go ahead.
Looking over they have a great team. They have a great team, offensively, defensively. I think 15-0 is not out of the possibility. I love the Nittany Lions this year. 15-0. We'll see you in the national championship game. Where's it this year, Kevin?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I have not had to concern myself with that for obvious reasons. Somewhere I will not be going. Penn State would probably opt out if they got in anyway.
So that's your official
15-0,
prediction.
absolutely.
There you
National
go.
championship, absolutely.
One of yous go. Whatever.
I'll go. I'm 10-2 as usual. Right?
Oh!
Wow, that's good.
I am. Look, I feel good about. I do. I don't know why. I don't know why.
You just obliterated my personal Brandon Noble over/under on what I thought you were going to
man.
say. We
Sorry.
didn't talk about it. Really?
I feel. Yeah, that's why we didn't
Not
talk
on.
about it. I know. I feel.
Starting to learn from the mailman.
No. I look. We're not ready to beat Ohio State. We're not there, right? So that's a get. But what the problem is? One of the whether it's Wisconsin, Iowa, one of those other ones, we're going to slip up. But I think we win the rest. I mean, I look. This team was, I hope, embarrassed last year. And I hope that the fact that they didn't play in a bowl game, they're a little embarrassed about that. And I hope they come out and play really, really well. There is a lot of talent.
Yep.
The quarterback is a question mark. The O-line is a question mark. I think we've got a ton of talent around the middle of our football team. And we can beat most of the other teams on the schedule with that. One of these kind of tough, hard-nosed teams is going to punch us in the face. We're not going to be able to do it, whether it's Iowa or Wisconsin, and we're just not ready to beat Ohio State yet. So yeah, I'm 10-2, which is insane.
Oh, it's tough to have to play those physical teams on the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the home away breakdown of our schedule
tough.
does us no favors.
Kinnick's tough. Yeah.
Other than Michigan State, right? The away schedule is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even throw Maryland away after what they did.
Oh,
to us
absolutely.
last year,
Right.
so
Absolutely.
it's tough. Yeah. Look. James Franklin's been here long enough. We know what he's about. I can't do it, right? I can't rely on the players developing as they do it in most programs, right? I can rely on the talent coming here. I cannot rely on the normal sort of progression of talent. We have not seen that happen at all. So I got to go 8-4. And that's not. I mean, that's not crazy. The over/under for Penn State season win total for most books is 8.5. So you're gonna you want over, and I think. I gotta go with what I see. Like the offense, even though there's questions around the quarterback position, the offense is going to be fine, right? They have the running back room, they have the wide receivers, they have the tight ends.
Yeah.
The O-line will be what it is, but I'm not worried about the offense putting up 30+ points a game against most teams. The defense, though, woof. I don't see it. I don't see it this year. Them being able to stop these downhill powerhouse Big Ten teams.
Right.
And, you said Ohio State. I mean, Iowa's really good this year. Wisconsin's pretty good. And then, you got to figure you stumble once or twice otherwise. I mean, I think 8-4 at best.
Man.
So I can buy 10-2.
That's what you thought I was going to say.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm
feeling good today, so I'm in a good mood. I haven't been up here in a while.
I love it. It's these beers from Otto's, maybe.
That's exactly right.
I can see 10-2 for sure. Mike, the mailman, total falderall. I'm not even going to acknowledge you. But I could see 6-6.
Oh.
Man, it is just that kind of a team. Let me ask you, Kev, since you say 8-4, I kind of feel like 9 wins is the dividing line between when the fan base is going to start to get a little restless coming out of 4 and 5 last year.
100% agree. And this team is the toughest for me, I think, to predict going into the season since maybe 2010 when Rob Bolden was quarterback. It's impossible because how much of last season was fake and how much of these players are going to progress. I mean, the defense last year was horrible, right? The linebackers are terrible, and it's the same crew this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't. I don't see it. And yeah, 9-3, I think fans are okay. 8-4, you start getting some angst.
Well, look, I already went on record. I got published in the Town and Gown Football Annual.
Yes,
I
you
picked
did.
us 10-2, and I'm going to stick with the 10-2. I think we run the gauntlet of these early games. I'm already tipping my hand on my Wisconsin prediction.
Yeah.
But I think that game at Kinnick, that's going to be a primetime game. I think we get nipped there. And then a tradition like no other, losing to Ohio State. You can chalk that one up. So 10-2. But listen, 10-2 is a great season for this team. And so, look, there are a bunch of question marks. I think, to me, the biggest one is the front seven. Do the linebackers improve? Can all the, frankly, just totally unknown commodities on the front four deliver? But I am banking on talent, regular offseason, and these coaches we have brought in. This is the best top-to-bottom coaching staff that James Franklin has had at Penn State since he's been here. And they've had a whole year to work their craft with these players. I think they got a chip on their shoulder. They're ready to win. When we get back, we're going to look at this Wisconsin game. Key, stay with us. No freebie to start the season this year for the Nittany Lions, opening on the road for the second year in a row. And they are going to Madison for a real test right out of the gate. This one matters for the conference standings. We got the Wisconsin Badgers. I'm your fake host, Chris Bucanani, joined by my usual cast of characters, former Penn State and NFL defensive tackle Brandon Noble.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, Brandon. And to your right, former OnwardState.com managing editor Kevin Horn.
Yeah, we're doing that's me.
It's a good time, isn't it? This is a good time. It's a good time. It's a good time.
Well, it's going to be a good time for now. We'll see what happens. Listen, I can't remember a time, maybe going back to the 1999 season when the Arizona Wildcats came to Beaver Stadium, that the first game of the year had so much significance for Penn State. And this is going to be a really interesting test. And guys, I think, to me, one of the most compelling angles on this game is that we have been so fixated on all the things that went badly for Penn State last year that I think people have lost sight of the fact that Wisconsin had a tough year in 2020 as well.
Yeah, they did, yep.
And in many ways, they are almost a mirror image of Penn State. They had some coaching turnover. They had several players who were draft eligible, who maybe in a lot of other situations would have skipped town for the NFL, who came back. They've got some question marks, including at quarterback, but they've also got a lot of returning players in key spots to lean on.
Well, they're mirror images, maybe on the offensive side of the ball, right? You have Graham Mertz as their quarterback. He came on strong, 5 touchdowns in his first game, and then sort of puttered out throughout the year. Sort of like, Sean Clifford had a great first year as starter, and then it's not been so great since then. So there's questions on there. They both have some veteran wide receivers coming back, some good targets, decent running backs.
Good tight ends.
But make no mistake about it, the defense there is no mirror image, right, for Penn State and Wisconsin.
For
Wisconsin
sure.
has one of the best linebacking cores in the country, and let alone the conference. And Penn State, put it lightly, does not have that, as far as we're aware, at this point in time with how player development has gone. So I worry. Look, our offense is going to put up some points, but their defense is really, really good. Ours has to show us something. Penn State's defense has to show us something against Wisconsin, it's a traditional Wisconsin team, which they're going to run the ball. They got big men up front. They're never going to have defects on the front seven on both sides of the ball. It's not a mirror. It's a mirror image in the offense. But defense is where this game's going to be won, and I'm not so confident that Penn State's defense is going to be ready to go out of the gate.
It's going to be like a chess match, Noble,
Yeah.
where you've got a very experienced back seven. 6 of the players back, 3 players in your secondary. All returners are seniors. at linebacking core, like Kevin said, total
best.
nightmare.
Yep, yeah.
But they're also reloading on the defensive line.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, Jim Leonard, who
amazing coach,
almost skipped town
Yeah.
to Green Bay, but the
Yep.
legacy guy still there, great
Yeah.
defensive
Yep.
coach, versus Mike Yursich.
Yeah.
Can Penn State installing a new offense for the third time in 3 seasons
Oh.
scheme up against that? And then what can Brent Pry do versus what Wisconsin has moving pieces around trying to get that offense going?
Yeah, you guys always concentrate on the team that we're playing. I concentrate on Penn State. I know what Penn State has, and I know what they can do. And I don't think it's going to be a contest.
You know what? I'm actually with you. I really think
I
think the
agree
onus
for the
is,
wrong reason.
Look,
Okay, all right. I'm just.
I think the onus is on Penn State. I really do. I think we have to take it to them.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the biggest questions is linebacker you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Curtis Jacobs and Brandon Smith, 2 guys who are going to be in the positions where they are most comfortable.
Yep.
They're highly touted recruits. Ellis Brooks has played a ton of football. Those 3 guys.
But not well.
Well, that's
So
the
that's the
point.
issue.
You've
We're going
got to
in
get them
Yeah.
up to a level where Wisconsin is not what they typically are offensively, especially in terms of their run game.
Yeah.
And so, to me,
Hopefully.
the question is, can you have a combination of your excellent secondary at
Yep.
Penn State? I think best in
Absolutely.
the conference.
Especially the safety.
Returning All-American, Jaquan Brisker.
And can you make the Wisconsin offense relatively one-dimensional? Can you force them to have to throw the football, and then you just have to hope that Graham Mertz you're getting in the season opener is not the version you
Right.
got in the season opener last year, but rather the guy who went 3-3 down the stretch and threw 4 TDs to 5 picks afterwards.
Yeah.
But from what we know, the answer is no, right? We're not going to force Wisconsin to throw the ball because in any game last year, in any crucial situation, and in the beginning of the game, the opposing running back, no matter whether they were a 2-star walk-on or a 5-star, they would run for 7 yards whenever they needed it, right? This is the softest front seven that I've seen as a Penn State fan ever, including the sanctioned teams, which had 2 scholarships on defense. You know what I mean? So we've got to see progress. We've got to This is why it's so hard to predict, because we don't know how much better some of these guys have gotten this offseason, which was normal compared to last year. So as a fan, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if I'm putting money on this game, I don't give benefits of the doubt. I give what I've seen so far in the careers of both sides, and it doesn't look good for us.
Every time I pick him to win double digits, he starts talking, and I know he's right. It's very depressing. Okay, so Noble, I got to ask you, this is going to be a noon kickoff for us, 11 a.m. for them. Is that a liability for Wisconsin?
Well, look, as a player, you want to go out, you want to play right now most of the time. You want to walk on the field, you want to wake up, go play, go home, right? And that's what they get to do.
They're going to get that chance.
Absolutely. I think that it's a great environment, right? It's a huge game, right? It means a lot coming off a bad season. I agree with everything that you said, but we're gonna find out who they are this weekend.
The only thing I know for sure is I'll be drunk by 2 p.m.
We'll be back.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Mike the Mailman. If you or your loved one or a friend has a gambling problem, don't hesitate to call the number below on the screen. They're there to help. Hi everybody, Mike the Mailman with this year's edition of Trends to Treasure. These picks will be for the weekend of September 11th, so let's go make some money. First trend this week is Tulsa at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has covered 4 of the last 5 games, so take the Cowboys minus the points. Next up we have New Mexico State versus New Mexico. New Mexico State has covered 5 out of the last 6 games, so take New Mexico State plus the big number. Our third trend, we go to the NFL. We have Baltimore at Las Vegas. Baltimore has covered 11 out of the last 15 times these 2 teams have met, so take the Ravens minus the points. This is our first show, so let me give you a bonus pick. We have another interstate rival. We have Utah at BYU. Utah has covered 5 of the last 5 games, so take Utah minus the points. That's going to do it for this week. Let's hope we get off to a great start, and don't forget, bet with your head and not with your heart. Go get 'em.
It makes me feel good to have that segment back. Look, you're still not going to make a better out of me, but I like watching it every week.
Oh, good.
I might bet fake money in that for the bloggy thing.
Okay.
Okay, last segment of the show, guys. We are here at Medlar Field at Librano Park, home of the State College Spikes. Thanks so much to Scott Walker, their GM, the whole crew here. They've been great hosts for us as we started the season. It's time for our random number generator segment and time to give score predictions for Penn State, Wisconsin. I'm actually going to give mine first.
Okay.
I talked about the chess match between Jim Leonard and Mike Yursich. We have talked about the need for Penn State's offensive line to improve, for Sean Clifford to elevate his game. I still think fundamentally Wisconsin is who they have always been. And if you can get a double-digit lead on them, you all of a sudden make the whole game start going downhill in your favor because they're not built to come back. So I think that Penn State is going to get a punch in early, and that's going to let them dictate the flow of the game from there. I got the Nittany Lions starting 1-0 this season, going 1-0 this week, 24-20. That's too saccharine and positive already, so you hang on.
Okay, I will hang on.
Horn, what do you got?
Well, I'm more concerned about this high school summer game we have going on behind us. me and Mailman bet our mortgages on before I started, so I have to get a score update on that if our producer Johnny can help out. But the scoreboard's not working. But beyond that, look, the game opened as at Penn State 4-point dogs. It has now moved to Penn State, most books, 6.5-point dogs, and it's only going up. And it's a rare game where the public money and the sharp money, a.k.a. the experienced better money, is on the same side. They're all picking Wisconsin. The total's 50. I like Wisconsin, and I like the over. I like if I had to throw out a number, I would say Wisconsin 42, Penn State 23. Wisconsin to cover, total over. Because I don't think Penn State's going to be able to stop Wisconsin's offense at all. And I think Penn State will put up some points. So that results in Wisconsin and the over. I hope I'm wrong. Wisconsin, Madison's a great town. It's a great trip. You're
going to have fun.
It's been 8 years since I've been there.
Wow.
Right? That was the last time we played there. Wow. But great time, great stadium. The weekend's so much better when they win, and we have the whole day to celebrate or wallow.
Yep.
Very different emotions. But if I'm putting my money on it, which I will not, I might bet the total. I will never bet against Penn State, but I'll probably take the over. That'll be my play, and then we'll hope that Penn State puts up their fair share of points.
Okay, so you think defense is going to crater, and that's going to cost Penn State the game. I think they're going to come out ready to play. They're going to win. I think the game will actually not even be as close as the final score I predicted. I know you love to just dither around and defer and wait till the end. So, all right. Okay. I'm going to accommodate you. Mailman, I know you want to give a score prediction for the game and then also tell us who you think is going to be in the national championship game. So go right ahead, Mike the Mailman.
I think this is
beloved campus icon.
This would be the easiest prediction of the year. Penn State by 9. It's easily. Penn State by 9 points. It's a given game. Anyway, Penn State will play in the national championship game one or two teams, either Oklahoma or Cincinnati.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
I really like Cincinnati. I like Cincinnati this year. Oh yeah.
Like crazy old man.
Cincinnati, no Bearcats.
That's why we put the effort in for this show to have zero credibility, so there's no way that you could tank it with these things you say.
What do you think about the total? Over or under?
I like
50.
the over.
Dang it.
I like the
crap.
Over. And you
Fade
know,
Mailman.
You know there's a trend on this game, too. Penn State has covered the last 4 straight games. They played Wisconsin. They've covered last 4.
Sure, but they haven't played him since the Bill O'Brien era.
But that's okay. It's still a trend.
And look, historically, Penn State has had pretty good success.
Yeah,
in Madison.
Paul Chris is 0-2 against Penn State.
Yes, correct.
All these things.
Which is crazy, right?
Program.
Isn't it weird to think about the fact that we've only played them 2 times since Paul Christ has been their head coach?
Yeah,
and one of them was the Big Ten championship game.
That's right.
All right.
What's going on out there?
Stop it. Stop it. Go ahead.
I am torn. Like I can agree with everything that Kevin said.
You're the tiebreaker because Mike the Mailman doesn't count.
I know, right? I really am.
First pitch strike. First pitch strike. This 16-year-old.
Okay, thank you.
I am torn. Like I feel like this team, the Penn State team, is they got something to prove. I think the coaching staff has something to prove. I think James has something to prove.
Yes.
And I think that week 1 at Wisconsin, there's no better place to prove it. But everything that he said about the front 7 on defense against this offense, is viable and
Oh
real.
my God!
So,
Every time
yeah.
they showed our linebackers against Maryland on BTN this summer, I threw something
Terrible.
at the TV.
Terrible. So and look, I am as random as they come when it comes to random number generator. I mean, I really am. But so I think Penn State wins. I do. I really do. And this is all my heart right here, 100%, right? But it's going to be like 23-21, right down to the wire. But they pulled off.
Good.
So important to get that W and get the momentum.
Yeah.
And the last time I was out there at Camp Randall was one of the best Penn State games of all time. Bill O'Brien's last game when we kicked the crap out of them as 22-point underdogs.
Beautiful. Let's re-rack it. We'll re-rack it next week. This is just the start. It's only going to get better. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back soon. Go State.
Beat Wisconsin.
Amen.